venit în cea de-a doua zi la manifestărilor de la Expoapa, așa cum spunem noi. După cum știți, este pentru al 22-lea an în care Asociația Română a Apei reunește specialiști din toate domeniile, din țară și din străinătate, în încercarea de a rezolva cât mai multe probleme din sectorul apei din România. În acest sens, este foarte importantă cooperarea internațională și aici Comisia Economică, prin Doru Popa, are un rol foarte important și care are sprijinul puternic al Asociației Române a Apei pentru a ne reprezenta în relația cu asociațiile internaționale, special cu IVA. În ceea ce privește acest atelier economic, în această perioadă, desigur că o perioadă plină de provocări. În ziua de ieri s-au discutat într-un atelier similar despre fondurile europene, posibilități de creștere a gradului de acces la fonduri europene, de creștere a gradului de absorbție și am constatat că, la un moment dat, avem mai mulți bani de cheltuit decât poate sectorul să ducă, datorită faptului că nu sunt constructori suficienți, nu sunt consultanți suficienți sau nu este forță de muncă calificată și, de fapt, cam toată Europa se confruntă cu aceeași problemă. Ei, acum, dacă ne uităm pe partea operațională, care este bine coordonată de către Comisia Economică a Asociației Române a Apei, vedem că aici avem costuri mari și de cele mai multe ori nu avem bani suficienți. Deci, iată, suntem în antiteză în ceea ce privește investițiile și partea operațională. Și poate că în viitor sau de acum încolo ar trebui să ne creionăm noi, Asociația Română a Apei, o strategie în care să încercăm să dăm un imbold nou acestui sector. În acest sens, din momentul în care am preluat conducerea Asociației Române a Apei, împreună cu colegii am instituit proiectul Industria Apei ca proiect de țară, care de fapt reunește niște cifre interesante care ar putea plasa sectorul de apă într-o zonă de dezvoltare. Am reușit să convingem autoritățile centrale că sectorul de apă nu este doar o cenușăreasă care vine cu constrângeri de infringement sau constrângeri de natură de mediu, datorită problematicilor de mediu, ci poate să fie relansat dacă ne uităm la acest sector dintr-un alt unghi. Și anume, necesarul de investiții în România este undeva la 25 de miliarde de euro, care cu siguranță că este în creștere datorită constrângerilor de mediu din ce în ce mai mari și mai multe. Deja acest sector are o cifră de afaceri cam de 1 miliard de euro. Acest sector derulează proiecte de câteva miliarde de euro și provocările în viitor sunt și mai mari, dar sunt toate ingredientele necesare pentru a crea o politică de țară adevărată. Ne bazăm foarte mult în acest sens pe datele și pe cifrele și pe ideile care provin de la colegii din străinătate, de la Asociația Mondială a Apei, de la reglementatorii Scoția, Portugalia, care ne sunt prieteni mai de mult și le mulțumim pentru acest lucru. Și poate că la următorul atelier economic al Expoapa de anul viitor, să încercăm să creionăm o tematică în zona economică în care să îmbrace toate aceste cifre care eu le-am spus, bineînțeles și altele, într-o strategie coerentă, de maniera în care să nu ne mai plângem că avem bani, dar nu putem să investim, sau că din aceste costuri ale energiei electrice și alte costuri care vin peste noi și nu avem bani destui. Deci Această antiteză cumva ar trebui rezolvată într-un concept creionat frumos, elegant și deștept și pornind de la bani. Așadar, nu pornim invers, pornim de la cât avem, cât ni se poate întinde plapuma și rugăm Comisia Economică și colegii, prietenii noștri ai asociațiilor partenere ca să ne ajute în acest sens. Vă mulțumesc pentru tot ceea ce faceți pentru ca sectorul de apă să fie bine reprezentat. Prezența dumneavoastră de ieri a creat, să zic, o altă imagine domnilor miniștri care au fost prezenți în sală, arătând până la urmă amplitudinea acestui sector, care este unul important. Mulțumesc și doresc succes!
Felicitări pentru reînceperea organizării review a lui Expoapa. Urez mulți ani și multe evenimente. Sincer, îmi pare rău că n-am putut să particip de ieri, dar suntem într-o primă etapă, mai reglementăm al serviciu, mai spectaculos salubrizarea și termenul avem pentru mâine, ca autoritate. Dar încă o dată felicitări întregului sector și felicitări organizatorului. Pe Dorul îl cunosc, depune eforturi deosebite de a prezenta România la nivel internațional, așa cum este ea, cu bune și cu rele. Avem și multe lucruri bune. Am avut, Dorul știe răspunsul atunci de la reglementare pe care l-am dat. Venind de la, cum ai spus, Dorule, firul ierbii, am simțit tot timpul nevoia și ca manager și în întâlnire cu colegii, întâlniri care atunci erau mai dese. Acum avem pandemii și alte restricții. Sectorul de apă din România, operatorii regionali, ani de zile ne-am dezvoltat, ne-am organizat, având în spate și sprijinul nostru o instituție, Ministerul Fondurilor, MIPE actual și cât mai aproape Autoritatea de Management. Ani și ani de zile, dezvoltarea noastră, reglementarea noastră, modul de funcționare, modul de a stabili tarife, o recunosc eu, care am lucrat, cred că și restul colegilor, și l-au asumat cei de la Ministerul Fondurilor Europene. Practic, prin finanțările și prin ghidurile, câteodată ne certeam zile și nopți, ne contraziceam, practic au dezvoltat sectorul de apă. Orașele, municipiile sunt la un standard comparabil cu multe țări occidentale, chiar peste multe. Și a venit momentul în care avem o capacitate tehnică, economică, inginerească și urmează, din punctul nostru de vedere, ANRSC, trebuie să trecem la o etapă, de altfel, noua lege ce a apărut de modificarea legii Apei, trimitem operatorii să gândească strategii de dezvoltare. Ce au de făcut? Asta e noua reglementare. Ce trebuie să facă? Îi trimitem, prin reglementare, să aibă viziune despre ce înseamnă regiunea lor din domeniul apei și apei uzate. Iar lucrul acesta se întâmplă. Am lucrurile astea de făcut. Am de implementat și multe proiecte încă și sper să fie în continuare mulți bani și Ministerul Fondurilor sau MIPE, încă nu m-am obișnuit cuvântul MIPE, să finanțeze în continuare acest sector, ca și până acum și cu mai mulți bani. Operatorii de apă trebuie să se dezvolte capacitatea de a avea resursele proprii. Această nouă reglementare pe care am început să o implementăm de câteva luni, mai greu la început, nici nu așteptam să fie o ușurință, practic punem operatorii la nivel de gândire proprie. Trebuie să-i consolidăm, trebuie să-și consolideze activitatea managerială, dezvoltarea operațională, mecanismul de a ajunge la o idee ce înseamnă sectorul, regiunea mea, cum să o dezvolt, și cuvântul este clasic, hai să ne conformăm cu directive europene, dar nu numai asta este, nu directive europene. Practic, e momentul în care trebuie să gândim cu capul nostru. Trebuie să demonstrezi că ai capacitatea de a gândi, de a proiecta, de a investi, de a avea capacitatea de a pune în aplicare investițiile și, în final, ai nevoie de niște bani și de o strategie de tarifare. După ce prezinți toate aceste lucruri, acea strategie de tarifare, care acum, prin noua lege, pe 5 ani, o prezinți autorității de reglementare și spui: am nevoie de un plafon, de un tarif pe următorii 5 ani. Analizăm planul de afaceri, vedem ce înseamnă toate astea și îți asigurăm autoritatea de reglementare, lucru foarte important. Până acum nu a existat stabilitatea strategiei tarifare. Implicarea politicului în nu-ți dau drumul să mărești tariful, că nu-i momentul, că sunt alegeri, această lege ajută operatorii să-și îndeplinească strategia tarifară. O strategie tarifară care are și un principiu. Nu poți depăși sau ai făcut la un nivel de 2,5% grad de suportabilitate dacă ai programe de investiții pe care și le asumă și autorități locale, să nu uităm, ei sunt acționarii, deci nu trebuie să uităm rolul lor niciodată, poți depăși și acest plafon. Dar automat și prin lege e bine să contribui și la un fond de solidaritate pentru a nu uita pe cei care nu reușesc n-ar putea să-și plătească factura. Deci vă dă o siguranță, stimați colegi, în aplicat tarife. Vă cere această lege să gândiți ce aveți de făcut. Investițional, m-aș bucura să fie aproape toate investițiile făcute din fonduri europene sau fonduri guvernamentale nerambursabile, dar în același timp trebuie să înțelegeți că trebuie să vă consolidați financiar, tehnic, pentru a avea capacitatea de a împrumuta, de a se dezvolta prin capacitatea dumneavoastră de a contracta credite, finanțări, surse proprii, ce v-ar duce într-un termen mai scurt la termenii aceia de conformare. Doru sau Ilie, nu mi-aduc aminte, au spus că necesarul e de vreo 25 de miliarde de euro. Ținând cont de devalorizarea euro, mai bine începe să ne comparăm în dolari. Nu știu dacă asta e de ajuns. Problema și prin această reglementare este să instituim și o capacitate a dumneavoastră de a absorbi acești bani. ANRSC-ul suntem alături de dumneavoastră. Am început de astă toamnă turnee prin țară să prezentăm. Încercăm cu autoritatea de management, BERT, consultanți, să venim aproape către dumneavoastră și sperăm în vreo 2 luni de asistență pentru planuri de afaceri. Gândim împreună cu consultanții viitori ai noștri un sistem de benchmarking comparabil la nivelul IVA, dar acel benchmarking, stimați colegi, va fi public. Deci, vă rog, așezați-vă și țineți că toți indicatorii ăștia vor fi la vedere public. Și peste toate acestea au venit și Green Deal-ul. Proiectele dumneavoastră trebuie să conțină și această componentă. Greu să o punem în practică. Criza de apă, voi sunteți principalii operatori în care din România așteaptă rezultate de a avea o utilizare a apei cât mai eficientă și cu pierderi de apă cât mai puține. Credeți-mă, sunteți principalii actori în care Guvernul României, statul, autoritățile județene locale așteaptă de la dumneavoastră. Responsabilitatea, într-adevăr, este teribilă în perioada următoare pentru dumneavoastră. Pentru că sunt multe, toate au termene sau nu mai au termene și în același timp e și funcționarea de zi cu zi. Vă doresc succes, baftă, iar noi suntem aproape.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and I didn't have my headphones, and I know Dora was saying something, so I hope they were nice things about me. It's really a great honor for me to be here. President Ilie, Vlaicu, thank you very much also for the invitation to be here. Doru, who actually is one of my board members and now my treasurer, asked me to give a short introduction to the International Water Association. So what I'm going to do is just to share with you some of the components of the IWA. So we're an association where really we have members from all over the world. We have members who are academics, we have members who are working in utilities, in consultancy companies, and as Doru mentioned, really the purpose is to meet some of those people, right? So, you know, when you join IWA, you get the opportunity to interact with people of these different backgrounds. And we, you know, a lot of the things we do is really research. Our members do a lot of research. So we're very much at the cutting edge in terms of, you know, innovations that are taking place in the water sector. And for young people, it's really an opportunity for them to grow in their careers because they're really, you know, they're able to establish mentors that then help them progress within their career. This slide just really shows you that, you know, we have on the left-hand side people who are really working on sort of fundamental research, but then we have quite a large group of people who are working on applied research, and they would be those people that are bridging this chasm. And on the right-hand side, we have practitioners who are really, you know, using the technologies in practice. So within IWA, we have people on the two extremes who are just doing research and who are really in practice. But in the middle, we have researchers who have one foot in academia, in a university, and one foot in practice. And we have people coming from utilities who have one foot within the utility, but then have another foot in academia. So we're able to take a lot of research and slowly, you know, bring it into practice. So we're quite good at ensuring that new ideas are really being implemented in practice. As I said, we have 10,000 members in IWA from around 140 countries. We have 50 specialist groups, and these are the very specific deep dive research groups that we have within IWA. We publish a lot of journals. I'll share with you what they are in a minute. We publish around 800 books. We have 18 academic journals. The number one water journal is an IWA journal, Water Research. And we have a lot of conferences. You've been watching the video. We just had our major conference in Copenhagen. We had about 10,000 people present at that conference from, I think, 100 countries. But before COVID, we would have a conference every week of the year somewhere in the world, right? So, you know, we are sort of always on the road in terms of conferences. As I said, we have 18,000 people who actively engage within IWA, but 10,000 are sort of paid members of IWA. And within that, we have corporate members, we have university members, and we have what's called governing members. And Ilie, Vlaicu, and Aru is the governing member of IWA from Romania. So they sit on our governing council, and the governing council elects our presidents, our vice presidents, and approves things like our budget, etc. You can see that our governing members, our university members, our corporate members, and our individual members, they're really coming from around the world. And the growth in IWA's membership over the past 2 or 3 years has been in Eastern Europe, Central Asia, in South and Southeast Asia, South America, and in Sub-Saharan Africa. So the organization is really now becoming truly international. We have representation from all those countries. The sort of reasons people join IWA, one of the main reasons is professional development. So this is when someone is trying to progress within their career, and they do that by participating in specialist groups. They might publish in our journals, and of course they attend our conferences and they network, and they're able to sort of grow in their career because of the people that they meet. We also have opportunities for leadership. So Doru is on our board, which is the highest level of leadership within the IWA. We have people who are leading our specialist groups, and you'll hear from Ed later on, who is one of the leaders of our specialist groups. And a lot of our young members are involved in developing our conferences and delivering those conferences. So there's a lot of leadership development that takes place. And of course, as I mentioned, there's a lot of networking opportunities within IWA. The specialist groups, Ed will talk about that a bit later, but we have 50 specialist groups, and they all have, you know, conferences that take place, and this is sort of a conference that's connected to one of our specialist groups. But you can see some of the titles of the specialist groups. So they're they're quite specific, very narrow in terms of the topics that they cover, but they really are at the leading edge. And these specialist groups are really where the thinking takes place. They then meet at conferences to further discuss some of the issues that they're looking at, and then they have the opportunity to publish those things within our journals and within our books. So we span this sort of continuum of just conceiving the idea, but then also delivering solutions through our publications. We also, as I said, we have governing members community, but we have a very strong young water professional group within IWA, and in many countries we have young water professional chapters, and this is where young people come together within a country and they connect with young water professional chapters in other parts of the world. And it's a very, very active group. And the best keynote in Copenhagen, Copenhagen was a 5-day conference, and the best keynote really came from our young water professional who's Portuguese. And that plenary session, which was run by our young water professionals, was the #1 session in the entire conference. So they're very powerful within the IWA. And then we have, members, but we also have IWA fellows and distinguished fellows who are people who have contributed a lot to the association and who are leading in the water sector. We have some programs, and these are programs that cut across many of the specialist groups, right? So we bring people from different specialist groups into our programs, and we also bring people from the industry. Our Waterwise Cities program was one of the most successful programs we had, and this is where we try to work with cities to understand how to improve the management of the urban water cycle. And a lot of cities signed up to these principles to say that they would they would commit to delivering on those principles. Currently, our most successful program is our digital water program. And I would encourage you to go to our website. We have a lot of publications that are free, which talk about how organizations are embracing digital innovation to move forward. And we launched a book in Copenhagen on digital water, and that's also available to download for free. And then we have some other programs. In Copenhagen, we had our climate smart utilities recognition. So we recognize some 20 utilities around the world who have really progressed in delivering on both mitigation on climate, but also in terms of adaptation. And we have things like our Regulators Forum, and we had I think it was our 12th or 14th Regulator Forum in Copenhagen. And this is a closed community of regulators that really come together within IWA to sort of work on developments in terms of regulations. And then you can see some of the other platforms that we have. Our conferences, we support the Amsterdam International Water Week. We get contracted to help them deliver that. We also are contracted to deliver on the Singapore International Water Week, so we are responsible for delivering programmatic things for those 2 large conferences. But then, of course, we support all the other international conferences, and we have partnership agreements with IFAD, with SIWI. So we're very much involved in the delivery of conferences around the world. But our world congresses are particularly famous. So you can see in 2014 it was Portugal, 16 in Brisbane, 2018 was Tokyo, and then we had a gap because of COVID, and we just had the largest and most successful conference in the history of IWA in Copenhagen. And it finished last week, so I'm still quite tired. And then the next one is in Toronto in 2024, and then 2026 is in Glasgow. So up to 2026, the conferences have already been decided, and then 2028, we're now receiving applications. It's a bit like the Olympics. A lot of countries apply, and only one will be selected. And then we have our development congresses, and this is where we talk about developing country topics. And that also is every 2 years, but on the odd years. And you can see where, and the last one was in my home country of Sri Lanka, which was really nice. And the next one is going to be in Rwanda, in Kigali, next year. So you can see, these are very large conferences that we have. In terms of publications, as I said, we published some 18 academic journals. And 2 years ago, we decided to make all of our journals free of charge. So now anyone can view our journals, anyone can publish in our journals. So if you go to our website, you can look at any of these journals, and you can read the papers, and you can submit papers free of charge. And we're very proud of that. And water research, of course, is the #1 Water Journal, which is one of IWA's main journals. We also publish books, and you can see the different types of books that we publish. And most of them are now going to be freely available online. So again, I would encourage you to download and read these books if they're of interest. And we have a magazine which we publish every quarter, which is much more a magazine that talks about the success stories of our members and their experiences. And this is a magazine that, again, I would encourage you to read it. It's published every quarter. Other activities, we also have a learning website where we collect material from a lot of our members, where they have online training, online learning tools, and we make that available for people free of charge as well. And in January, we will be launching our new sort of interface system, what we call our CRM. And with that, there'll be a content management system where all of IWA's material is held in one repository and it's freely available for people to look at. And this new system was demonstrated in Copenhagen 2 weeks ago, but it will be officially launched in January, and you'll be able to access that and then navigate and look at courses that you can do free of charge and learn. So that concludes my short presentation, Doru, on IWA. Thank you.
Good morning. It's good to be here after such a disastrous time of COVID, and I think the last time we were here was 2019. So I first like to thank you for being here and for listening to us. Secondly, I want to thank the president of ARA for inviting us again. I think it's the 5th time, or maybe the 6th time, I don't remember. I want to thank also the presenters of today. You are so kind to come here from Scotland, from Portugal, from London, to do a presentation in this workshop that we organize for you, but we is not really the case because it's of course allowed by our management committee of the specialist group, but most of the work was done by Doru and his staff, let's say for 95%, and the other 5%, the intelligent part, was done by others. So thank you, Doru, and thank you to your staff also. So I like to do, some faces of you are familiar for me, so maybe you've heard this the second time. This will be the second time that I talk about the specialist group, but someone new, so I try to make it very short and do it in 5 or 10 minutes. To talk a little bit about the specialist group, so I take on where Kala left off, you could say, and when I talk about the specialist group, you always have to see it to the background of what IWA is doing. And let me translate freely what Kala said. The purpose or the ultimate aim or even the wish of IWA is to give all the people in this world safe drinking water and hygienic sanitary conditions. Maybe it's an aim, but it's also a wish, a strong wish, and that's why IWA does all that work. And Kala already said it, the specialist groups are more or less the core of IWA, you could say. And there are some 50, Kala showed some of them, and more than 40, I think, are, let's say, technical, dealing with technical issues. And you have some others dealing with non-technical issues, like the Statistics and Economic Specialist Group, but also one on asset management, one on digitalization, one on communication. So we are not so many, but dealing with non-technical issues, let's say. If you are joining IWA, you can join up to, I think, 5 specialist groups. So if you have expertise in some field, you can join those specialist groups. And what those groups do, they are organized around certain teams, like ours on statistics and economics, and you meet there experts and professionals from all over the world dealing with these kind of topics. And what we try to do is that we exchange knowledge. We try to disseminate that knowledge over the world, let's say, and we do that by organizing conferences and workshops, or by making reports in publications, in books, and more on the web and social media, of course. And in that way, we contribute to practice and research, trying to bridge that gap, as you already heard, in all water areas and in our specialist group, especially in the field of economics and statistics, of course. As I said, we deal with some, let's say, twofold topics. One are the economical and financial issues, and in our group it's very broad. I listed some here, tariffs and prices, for instance, efficiency of companies, the microeconomics of companies and wastewater treatment plants and organizations like that, finance of utilities, of course, cost coverage, regulation, and many, many others. And the second part that our group does is that we organize periodical surveys. We extract information from companies or cities or whatever worldwide, and from there we provide analysis and statistics on all kinds of, again, economical and financial issues. Our group consists of about 1,100 members, most of them only following us and being, unfortunately, not so active. But we have a core group of, let's say, 20 people which form a management committee, and they are very active. And fortunately, what is there is that group of 20 people is very different from background. They are people from universities and researchers, people from regulators, like Joachim, you will see him after the break, I think. People from utilities, of course, consultants, and also people from national associations. The group is self-managed by a chair, a vice chair, and a secretary, and that management committee. So these are the active members that manage the group. We meet 2 to 3 times per year physically, provided there is no COVID, of course. And in those few days that we meet somewhere in some country, we discuss our program and our activities. We discuss some financial and economical issues, of course. We organize workshops, we do work, and also we try to have some fun after we did some work. And of course, all the work is free time and self-financed or financed by your company where you work. So the structure again, we have a management committee of 20 people, 22 at the moment I think, leading by 3 officers, a chair, a vice chair, and a secretary. We have in that group 4 to 5 working groups. There are fixed groups dealing with statistics, with tariffs and finance, with water economics, and with international conferences. And at the moment we have I hope, a temporary group dealing with the consequences of COVID for utilities. And we have those more than 1,100 members. Our specialty is workshops, and in such a way it differs, I think, a bit from other specialist group. I told you that we meet 2 to 3 times per year somewhere in some country, and we always give the possibility then to the host, which is normally a member of our management committee. We give them him or her the possibility to organize a workshop. And it's then a really simple workshop, not too complicated. And the topics that are spoken there, are discussed there, are up to the host. So he can ask in his country, what do you like to hear? What specific needs do you have in your country? And a workshop like this is an example of that. And then he can decide. And what we do then normally is to combine presenters of our group, because we have a very broad range of economical topics in our group, and we combine the presenters from our group mostly with presenters from the home country. And of course the ultimate goal is to learn from each other, with that ultimate goal in mind of giving all the people on this planet drinking water and safe hygienic conditions, because that's always the ultimate aim, why we do things within IWA. So, if you want to reach us, you can do that on LinkedIn, on our IWA Connect page, or even by our secretary. You can follow us, you can reach us, but we prefer that you could be active in our group. So, if someone wants to be active, and I talked to someone already, please give us a call or see us on the web or on the internet. So, I'm happy that you are here, and I hope you have a great workshop. Thank you.